They say madness doesn't start with screams. It starts with noise. A whisper at first, a hum behind the eyes that never stops. For Versace, it began the moment the world stopped listening. He used to talk for a living, the VSW podcast, independent wrestling stories, locker room tales, the kind of raw talk fans loved, until they didn't. One month the plays dipped, then guests stopped replying, sponsors pulled out, friends moved on to bigger shows, new scenes, new microphones. They forgot to call. Versace watched them all grow while he stayed still, the forgotten voice in a room that used to buzz with laughter. He'd scroll through social media and see their faces smiling, tagging each other, pretending he'd never been part of it. The same ones who once asked for advice, for a spotlight, now acted like he was invisible. He told himself it was fine, just burnout, just time moving on. But when the silence stretched too long, something inside began to itch. At night, he'd record into his mic again, not for an audience, just to fill the void. The red recording light flickered like a heartbeat in the dark. He'd talk about wrestling, about life, about how fake people were. Then, one night, his voice changed. It got lower, sharper. He wasn't talking to anyone anymore. He was talking at them. And when he played it back, there was something else on the tape, between words, between breaths, a faint static, and laughter. He tore apart the room looking for where it came from, the speakers, the computer, the walls, but the laughter didn't stop. It wasn't coming from outside, it was inside. He tried to drown it out. He played white noise, old promos, anything to fill the air. But the laughter cut through all of it, whispering under every sound. It followed him to bed, to the shower, to the car. It told him things. It told him he wasn't forgotten, he was erased. The day his wife left, she didn't yell. She just said, "I don't know who you are anymore." And maybe she was right. Versace didn't know either. He stopped going out. The mirrors in the house started to bother him. Reflections felt delayed, like they were watching him longer than they should. One night, he caught his reflection smiling when he wasn't, a cold grin spreading across its face like a crack in glass. That was the night it started raining, a heavy, endless storm that sounded like static against the windows. He sat in the dark with his old microphone in hand, whispering into it like a prayer. "If no one listens," he said, "what's the point of talking?" And the reflection in the window answered without moving its lips. It said, "Then make them listen." He didn't remember standing up. He didn't remember opening the attic hatch. But he was there, under a bare bulb's trembling light, surrounded by boxes of forgotten junk, old wrestling flyers, Halloween decorations, tangled cables, things left behind from a different life. And there it was, the mask. A blank white face with a crack down the center, cold plastic, expressionless, waiting. He touched it, and a buzzing in his head stopped. He put it on. It fit like it was made for him. In the mirror, he looked at himself for a long time. Then he grabbed a razor and cut his hand. He painted over the mask until it wasn't white anymore. Not bright red, deeper, darker, the color of rust, of old stains, coat after coat of his own blood. He pressed it to his face again. It was warm now. And behind that warmth, he heard breathing, slow, steady, not his own. He tore it off and threw it aside, but when it hit the floor, it made no sound. It just stared back up at him, still smiling. That night, he dreamt of corridors filled with laughter, all the voices of people he knew. They called his name, but never looked at him. When he tried to speak, the sound that came out wasn't his voice. It was the hum, the one that had never stopped. He woke up at dawn, drenched in sweat, the mask beside him on the pillow. He didn't remember bringing it there. He put it on again, and the hum vanished. The silence that followed was perfect. For the first time in months, his hands didn't shake. His heartbeat was calm. The reflection in the mirror wasn't smiling anymore. It was still, patient, obedient. He whispered to it, "You see me now?" And it nodded. From that day forward, Versace didn't sleep. He didn't need to. He walked the city at night, quiet streets glowing with sickly yellow lights. He passed the bars where the wrestlers drank anchor shows, the same ones who'd once begged to be on his mic. Sometimes he'd hear them laughing inside, loud and alive, but their laughter was different now, distant, fragile. He followed them sometimes, just to see, just to listen. Each time, the mask whispered behind his eyes, soft and steady, "Make them see." He would mostly kill criminals and other unwanted things of the night. He would cut out their eyes and paint his mask with a fresh coat. He started recording again, but this time it wasn't for the podcast. He didn't need words anymore, just sound. The VSW was dead, horror nights lived. Breathing, footsteps, the faint rattle of something metal in his hands. The mask made him brave. It made him whole. When he wore it, the world didn't mock him, it feared him. The red gleam in the dark, the stillness in his movements, the voice that came through the distortion like a confession from the other side. Somewhere, someone screamed that night. Somewhere, laughter finally stopped. After that, people started talking again. They called him Bloodface. The name spread through whispers, through locker rooms, through midnight news feeds no one wanted to believe. A face dripping in red, appearing where the lights were brightest. Shows, events, crowded streets. Always watching, always near the edge of vision. Some said he was a spirit of vengeance. Others said he was just a man who snapped. But the truth was worse. He hadn't snapped. He'd simply woken up. Versace didn't die that night. He disappeared. What replaced him was cleaner, quieter. He didn't want fame anymore. He wanted silence. He wanted the noise to end. Now, whenever laughter echoes through a crowd, somewhere behind the static, a low voice murmurs through an old recording mic. This time, you'll hear me. And then, nothing. Just the hum, the faint sound of breathing behind the mask, and the silence that follows every scream.
Feels like the walls are closing in. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Why are you smiling? That's not me. Look at it. Still wet.
I found you. This isn't just pain.